My first quote for Chapter 7 is unlike an ordinary conversation between two people, an interview is a planned conversation that requires preparation, and it is the first stage of interviewing. The author conveys that there are 3 skills that should be used when preparing for an interview: identifying the interview goal, identifying the appropriate person, and arranging the interview. There are primary and secondary goals for an interview. Primary goals are things like gathering information or to obtain a job. Secondary goals fall into 2 categories: task goals and relational goals. Task goals are asking and answering questions in a thoughtful, clear manner that conveys the appropriate information. Relational goals are the use of interpersonal skills so that you are interpersonally believable and attractive. It is also important to identify the right person for the interview. It is a huge waste of time for you or for them if the person is not qualified to make hiring decisions. When arranging the actual interview, the setting, the location, and the time need to be appropriate so that there is adequate time for the interview, as few distractions as possible, and the physical arrangement is conducive to the interview. It is important to me because I don't have a lot of experience in interviewing. I've only been interviewed about 2 times in all of my working career. I think these are good tips that I can use in the future when being interviewed, or if I was ever put in the position of being an interviewee or interviewer. My second quote for Chapter 7 is writing effective interview questions is another communication skill interviewers are responsible for when constructing an interview. The author explains that there are 4 major types of interview questions: open, closed, probing, and hypothetical. The author explains that open questions are unstructured and allow the respondent the freedom about how much and what type of information they are willing to provide. Closed questions require a direct, brief, and simple answer, so it limits the possible responses. Probing questions want the respondent to elaborate or clarify partial responses and encourages the respondent to continue. Hypothetical questions allow the interviewer to find out what a potential employee might do in a particular situation or to predict what their likely reaction might be to a real situation. I think it is important to me because I can see where using any one of these types of questions can be useful when doing an interview. They allow you to get to know the person better, see if they possess the qualities that you are looking for, and what actions they might take in the future if given the job. My first quote for Chapter 6 is the ultimate interview goal is to identify a job that is a good fit with your personality type, skills, and abilities. You start by assessing your adaptive, transferable, and job-related skills. The author explains that adaptive skills are ones that allow you to function daily, be social, adjust to different situations, and allows you to get things accomplished. Transferable skills include conducting interviews, leading and instructing, establishing and maintaining relationships, conflict management resolution, and meeting management. Job-related skills are specific skills to a particular occupation. I find it important to me because I can relate some of my personality traits to adaptive and transferable skills. I can adapt to unique situations. I am able to get things done because I am motivated, resourceful, and approachable. I am good at building relationships with people and resolving conflict at work. I have job-related skills like accounting because I am a bookkeeper. My second quote for Chapter 6 is people have a tendency to remember and be influenced by information received at the beginning and the end of a social interaction. The author is conveying that making a memorable first impression and how you end an interview can impact how an employer perceives you and ultimately if they think that you are a good fit for the company. Ways of making a good first impression could be by making the interviewer feel comfortable with you, acknowledging them from the start, being mindful about your social media image, and dressing appropriately for the interview. Ways of leaving a lasting impression would be by following up with a thank you note expressing your thanks for their time and for the interview, and by following through with any additional instructions they may have. It shows that you are directable and that you can follow through. It is important to me because I think about these steps even in regular conversations aside from just being in an interview. I always want to give off a good impression of myself to others. I am a genuine person. I want to be helpful, and I want people to see that. I want to show it to them. I believe that how you present yourself says a lot about your character. So